Happy Saturday, everybody. It's Barbara Ann, and welcome back to my channel, Straight Out of Context. We are on song number 27, entitled The Prophecy. Hand on the throttle. Thought I caught lightning in a bottle. Oh, but it's gone again. And it was written. I got cursed like Eve got bitten. Oh, was it punishment? Pat around when I get home. I guess a lesser woman would have lost hope. A greater woman wouldn't beg. But I looked to the sky and said, please, I've been on my knees. Change the prophecy. I don't want money. Just someone who wants my company. Let it once be me. Who do I have to speak to about if they can redo the prophecy? Cards on the table. Mine play out like fools in a fable. Oh, it was sinking in. Slow as the quicksand. Poison bled from the wound of the prickered hand. Oh, still I dream of him. Please, I've been on my knees. Change the prophecy. I don't want money. Just want someone who wants my company. Let it once be me. Who do I have to speak to about if they can redo the prophecy? And I sound like an infant. Damn right you would do. Feeling like the very last drops of an ink pen. Please let that ink run out. Jesus fucking Christ, let it run out. A greater woman stays cool. But I howl at like a wolf at the moon. And I look unstable. Gathered with a coven around the sorceress's table. A greater woman has faith, but even statues crumble up there made to wait. I'm just going to stop right there. We have statues that are literally hundreds and thousands of years old. It depends on what your statue's foundation is made out of. If it's made out of something solid, no, it can't break. I'm so afraid I sealed my fate. No sign of soulmates. I'm just a paperweight. In shades of greige. Is that supposed to be in shades of gray? Or is that meant to say greige? Like grayish beige. I don't know what that's supposed to mean there. Oh, in shades of greige, grayish beige. Spending my last coin so someone will tell me it'll be okay. It won't. Nothing's ever okay. We're all headed towards the same exact fate and destiny, no matter what anybody wants to believe that theirs is unique and original and special. We're all going to die. There's only what we do and what we don't do, and that's it. Spending my last coin so someone will tell me it'll be okay. Please, I've been on my knees. Change the prophecy. I don't want money. Don't want money. Excuse me. Don't want money. Just someone who wants my company. Let it once be me. Who do I have to speak to about if they can redo the prophecy? Who do I have to speak to change the prophecy? Hand on the throttle. Thought I caught lightning in a bottle. Oh, but it's gone again. Pat around the house when I get home. I guess a lesser woman would have lost hope. A greater woman wouldn't beg. But I looked to the sky and said, please. So for somebody who calls herself, I have to be on the right side of history, and calls herself a Christian with Christian values and a Tennessee Christian with values. Verbatim, what she said in Miss Americana. Why is she blasphemizing the Bible or God? That's sacrilege. Irrelevance, profanation, desecration, impious. It doesn't matter to me what religion somebody is, but you would never do that discrimination and that racism towards Muslims or anybody else. Why do you get a green light to do that towards Christians or Catholics or anybody that believes in a Christian God? You're excluding yourself. I guess a lesser woman would have lost hope. A greater woman wouldn't beg. And to say that you're being punished because, yeah, you are. That's what that is. God's karma and God's punishment may not align with what people have their opinions and thoughts and feelings on. But God is always going to deliver what is just and His will. And you are not any stronger or better than anybody else. That you can determine God's will. Or that you have a prophecy. The prophecy is a message from God. It is not a set stone about what is going to happen in the future. Prophecy literally means a message from God. And prophecy with an S is literally somebody who can hear that message from God. She's saying prophecy as in prophecy is something in the future that has to do with her. You and who? What? A soulmate? I'm sorry, but a prophecy very little has to do with a woman getting the man of her dreams. So that right there, absolutely bullshit. And then to use witchcraft type words, gathered with a coven around a sorceress's table, howling like a wolf at the moon, being on your knees. You're just a grayish paperweight. And then to say these to God, please, I've been on my knees. Change the prophecy, don't want money. That's really selfish and entitled to say. I don't need money. Of course you don't need money. Taylor Swift, of course you don't need money. But you know what? Money can fix a lot of problems for a lot of people. Because there's a lot of people who bust their ass every day, all day, to do for their families, their kids, their spouses, their friends, their community, for animals, and don't even have the money to get their teeth fixed, or to go see a doctor, or to get their medication that they're supposed to be taking. For somebody to even say, I don't want money. Of course you don't want money. You have so fucking much of it that it's going to get boring and dull to you, because what else can you have? God's karma, something that money cannot buy you. Something that being very wealthy cannot buy you or cannot get you. And that's true love. And I'm not going to compare this to like the Casey Anthony thing. A lot of people know that she killed her baby. If your baby accidentally dies and you wake up, you neglected your baby, you are guilty of that child's death by neglect. That's first degree child neglect. That resulted in gravest bodily harm and death. Doesn't matter if she killed her baby, period. Because I'll tell you why. A 2-3-year-old doesn't end up in the woods, buried, wrapped up with duct tape on its face, ever. Nobody even panics and does that to a baby to try to make it look like somebody else killed the baby. If you have a dead baby in your arms and it was an accident, you call 911, because miracles have happened for less. People and kids have been resuscitated miraculously. You don't just go and put duct tape on your baby's mouth and dump it. No. Casey Anthony killed her child. And everybody knows it. And the only thing that's worse than that, the fact that we all think that she physically should be locked behind bars for the rest of her life or be sentenced to death, which the state of Florida does do, is the fact that she is out walking around free. We don't think that that's justice. That's not justice. That doesn't align with our feelings. That doesn't align with her daughter's life being taken, and her being the sole responsible party for that life, and making sure that life is nourished and cared for. Instead, that baby ends up dead and rotten in the woods with duct tape on her mouth, completely decomposed down to bone. I know a lot of people were mad, very mad, that the jury misinterpreted the law, misapplied the law, misunderstood the forensic and circumstantial evidence. But God delivered the most beautiful and most ultimate punishment on somebody that has very serious personality disorders and needs very intensive psychotherapy for the rest of her life. For somebody that is such a pathological liar and killed her kid and knows she killed her kid. Her dad knows she killed her kid because he leaves for work and his granddaughter and daughter are completely fine. Then all of a sudden, doesn't hear from them for 30 days. His granddaughter's dead in the woods. Yeah. God delivered her the most ultimate punishment, because for her to be a psychological egoist, for her to have that mental illness, those personality disorders, and the pathological lying, somebody who is so selfish that she would kill her own baby for fucking somebody, for having dick, for getting the better boyfriend. For somebody like that, the worst punishment is not physically being behind bars, where you're physically told what you can and cannot do for the rest of your life, or having your life taken from you through the death penalty. Some people are on death row for decades before they actually are executed. Some people exhaust their appeals sooner and can actually see lethal injection within 10 to 12 years. That is not karma. That is not just punishment for Casey Anthony. Casey Anthony's punishment is being physically free out in the world. But every single person on this planet knowing her face and always going to know her face. Casey Anthony can't go out. She can't go out like a normal person. She can't go out and just be free the way that she used to before she killed her kid. Because not only has she gotten death threats, her life has been threatened. People have actually beat her ass. So she can't just be free. So she's got freedom, but she truly doesn't have freedom at all. And not only that, she has to live every single day being physically free in the world, but having to literally hide and worry about her physical safety for as long as that bitch ends up being old and fucking gray. She's going to have to live with the fact that every day she cannot just go out in public. She cannot go out and party. She's never going to get a man to fucking date her, especially being a baby killer. And she's going to have thousands and thousands of days where she's going to have to live with herself, having had killed her baby. That is God's ultimate justice and punishment. Where men and the jury failed, God did not. And it's not just a lesser woman or a greater woman. The fact that you would even categorize women as lesser or greater means that in your own mind, you think that certain women are lesser and certain women are greater. That's really fucked up. That's as bad as men rating women from 1 to 10 as far as their aesthetic looks. That is very... I can't even find the right word for that. Just the thought that somebody even thinks like that tells you everything you need to know. Even if you think like that, just in terms of trying to write a good song, it's still not good. And then she's using biblical terms like Eve. Cursed like Eve. Or that she's getting this punishment because all she wants is someone who just wants her company. You've had that hundreds of times over with every person that has ever taken a chance in dating you. You've had that. Why is that not good enough? Why is nothing ever good enough for you? You don't want money. Of course you don't want money. You have all the money. It's easy for somebody who has it to say, oh, I don't want it. You don't want it because you already fucking have it. It's not something that has been denied or deprived of you. There's people out here that work very, very hard, busting their ass from eyes open to eyes closed for themselves, their families, their communities. And they don't get paid a fraction of what their work is actually worth. Most people don't. Most people are not in America's very wealthy 1% of the 331 million citizens that are here. So it's easy for somebody to be so fucking entitled and so spoiled and so selfish to think in those terms. But you know what? Most people cannot think in those terms because most people aren't even thinking about money unless they have to pay their bills, get their car fixed, get their medicine, see a doctor, see a dentist. God forbid, can anybody out here afford to go get $50,000 fucking veneers when they aesthetically actually need them to be able to speak or talk or speak and eat and to function? Because everybody knows what partials and dentures do to people. You know, but Taylor Swift, no, that's a luxury she can afford. And a breast augmentation. That's things that people can't just aesthetically go do for themselves. Right? Because people don't think about money. Only when they have to pay bills to actually fucking survive do they have to think about it. And they think of it in a negative connotation because they negatively have to think about how am I going to come up with what I need to pay. Because rent's due on the 1st. This bill's due, this bill's due. Here in the state of Michigan, you have to have car insurance. Car insurance runs anywhere from $270 to $500, $600 a month. That is literally almost the price of some people's rents. Yeah, people think about money normally, but in a negative way. And it's a stressor. It's a toxic, abusive stressor and a financial issue that people have to think about it in those terms. It must be so nice to be Taylor Swift and to have all these hands always helping you do everything. Even right down to writing and actual production of music. She's not the sole proprietor of any of it. And to me, these cards on the, these cards on the table thing and Fools and a Fable, all of this witchcraftery, blasphemy bullshit that she's doing, and then relating it to the prophecy, which prophecy literally means a message from God. It's not the fortune telling of the future or the fate of a destiny. You can look at the definition yourself. It's a message from God. A prophet is somebody who tells that message, who hears that message from God and tells it. You want to know what's godly? Having faith, even when you're at your lowest. Having faith in something better and greater than yourself. Something all-powerful and beautiful and consistent and perfect. When you're not, and when you fail as a human and a woman. That's what having faith really is. But having faith or not having faith doesn't make somebody a lesser woman or a greater woman. And I really hate that she even uses that she even thinks in those terms to even write a song like that, because that's vain. That's really vain to try to categorize people in that kind of context. So this song here, yeah, I would say she does sound like an infant. And her writing is crap. And yeah, a greater woman stays cool. Like, what would you know a greater woman or a lesser woman does or doesn't do? Like, how would you even know a greater woman has faith? Yes, we do. Great women do have faith. That doesn't mean that great women are without their everyday struggles. It's the fact that we've struggled and endured so much. Real shit. Not just somebody groping our ass over our clothes or under our skirt. Literally having gone through the worst, most unimaginable things that you can ever dream up in your worst nightmares. But still, no matter how scared and uncertain and alone that a great woman is in the world, she still has her faith in God. And no matter how scared and lesser you may feel, it's positively and proactively taking charge of your life and making better choices and acting courageously even when you're at your lowest and even at your worst. That is a great woman, and that is true courage. And not only that, but selflessly doing it for others. And any woman who's had kids can tell you that they would do anything for their children. A lot of women, I'm not saying that that's the definition of true love, but every woman can say that have the experience of having a child, that they understood love in a different way, in a more real, a more detailed, a more in-depth, a more consistent and unconditional way than a man can ever provide you with if you're heterosexual. So I really hate the way that she wrote this, the way that it sounds. The witchcrafty stuff mixed in with the blasphemy stuff. I mean, come on, Taylor Swift, what are you? Are you a Christian or are you not? Because your songs really are sounding like you're not. And it kind of sounds like she's half in between this and half in between that. So what's the prophecy? That you still dream of him? Dream is one of those other words that she likes to use all the time. Dream, dream, dream. All the time. Dreaming of a man, dreaming of a man. Still dreaming of him. And you wonder why other men are like, fuck this. Fuck this. See ya. Bye. Not gonna commit. Spend time with you, but definitely not gonna commit. That's not a prophecy. You brought yourself to where your life is through your own actions and your own choices and your own inactions and your own not making any choices at all. So there's like what you do, what you don't do. We all are standing where we are in life, not just because of external circumstance, but because of internal decision making, internal thought processes, an internal way that we view the world. Circumstances has a lot to do with everything, but we control how we let that affect us and our lives and our futures. So for somebody to be blasphemizing the church or God himself and Jesus Christ, to then be mentioning prophecy, that's contradictory, and it makes absolutely zero fucking sense. Zero fucking sense. So I would give this one a 0 out of 10. If I could, I would do a -5 out of 10. But I'm going to be fair, only 0 out of 10. So that's it. Song number 27, everybody. The Prophecy. And from the way it's written, I don't think she understands what that even means. At all. But anyway, happy Saturday, everybody. I love you so much. I hope you guys will come back and finish off the rest of the series with me. And I will be doing song number 28 next, 29, 30, 31, and then we're done. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait. It cannot be over soon enough. So I can put this all in the back of my memory bank and compartmentalize it, and then after a while, put it in the dumpster fire, because I'm just so done. So done with this whole album and these songs. And I wanted to see this actually all the way through, to go through all of them, and to actually go through the lyrics, because I wanted to give it a fair shake, but this is why. This is why I've never, ever bought or listened to any of her albums. Because I think they're terrible. They're absolutely terrible. And I'm not the only person. There's literally most people in America probably does not like Taylor Swift. And not I don't want to say hate. Just doesn't like her music. Doesn't like the way it's written. Dislikes it. It doesn't vibe. It doesn't jive with anything consistent or real. And even the topic itself, and then the words she chooses, are just like pulled out of a hat. It's like playing mix and match with a bunch of different topics that don't go together, and then trying to use it for a metaphor for why you feel like your life is not where it should be, that you want to change what God has set out for you, instead of actually doing what God's will is and what God actually put out for you because you think you're better than God. I don't know. I don't get it. I really don't get it. So, yep, 0 out of 10 for me. All right. Good night and goodbye, everybody. Love you.